We'll just start. You're gonna.
Yes, yeah, as soon as he says that, we're ready to go.
All right, good evening, board. You're live and you are being recorded. You may begin.
All right, thank you very much, LTV. Good evening, everybody. Sorry for a little late start here. We were in exec session prior to this, going over personnel and meeting with our auditor. At this time, I would like to call the meeting to order. Vicki, would you do roll call, please?
I don't know how you do your roll call.
We just go down. And
Just call the names.
Just call names,
Barbara
yes.
Dayton.
Here.
Eric Fredrickson.
Here.
Patrick. Brandon and Emma Saris. Katie Saris.
Here. Right.
Okay.
And Emma Field is absent.
And Emma's absent.
Right, okay. So if we could all rise for the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Our first order of business this evening is appointing our new district clerk, Vicki Lawrence, who we will get signed in right away.
We just did. We'll take the oath of office. Yes, stand. Raise your hand. There you go, right here. Okay.
Want me to just read
Yeah,
that?
just read it.
I, Vicki Lawrence, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of district clerk according to the best of my ability.
Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Thank
Thank you very
you.
much.
For the case of introductions, Vicki Lawrence comes to us from Sag Harbor, where she's currently the deputy district clerk, but she's also in their business office doing payroll as well
Payroll
as
and HR.
in HR. So we're really lucky to have her.
Yes, we'll miss Rachel, but she definitely had too much on her plate. We certainly understand her stepping back, and we were very lucky to find Vicki. So let's jump on into public commentary number 1. This is for items of board business only. That would be personnel and finance at this point. If there's anybody here in the audience or who's calling in with a,
Well, can you do the resolution for Vicki?
Oh, you have to,
Just to have the
oh,
board
actually, right, I
approve?
have to do the resolution.
Yeah.
Sorry. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby approves the appointment of Vicki Lawrence as a district clerk for the 2023-2024 school year at $40 per hour, not to exceed $12,000. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, sorry, now it's official. And yes, back to public commentary. If there's anyone here or calling in.
We have no callers at this time.
Great, thank you very much. And actually, we do have a committee change here. I see. Excuse me. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby appoints the following people to committees. Policy Committee will be Jessica Rogers, and Communications Committee, Maria Jimenez. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Deb, would you go over personnel, please?
Yes, I'd like to start tonight with a tenure recommendation. Laura Dunham is with us. She wants to stand and be recognized.
Go up here, stand up here.
Stand up here, come on. Come on.
I have a PTA update too.
Oh, okay.
It's a 2 for 1.
Let's do the tenure. So I've
Sorry, I
had
jumped over the PTA.
That's okay.
It's
I've had
Big
the-
crowd tonight.
I've had the pleasure of recommending, I have the pleasure of recommending Laura for tenure in the area of elementary education. Mrs. Dunham is currently teaching 5th grade. She was previously tenured as a special education teacher and requested teaching elementary, which we honored. So her tenure is only 3 years for elementary. She was one of the first teachers to get your Teach On, if you remember that, back in 2018. And she still is so creative in her classrooms, changing it up every day for her students. She's compassionate. She takes a genuine interest in her students. She calls the students who think differently brilliant. I've heard you refer to them several times and they just flow. Her classroom walls instill values as well as the academics. She places role models in history on her bulletin board for her students to see, and stresses to them see themselves in those heroes and those role models. She encourages her students to work differently, work in pairs. She's out of the box thinker. I will always remember all the boxes you brought in from UPS, and they were doing, the measurement of boxes and how much a box would hold. But that visual makes me remember, okay, if I need to get a box from UPS, I need to ask what it's going to hold or how much it's going to hold. So she's also not afraid to take risks. She's heard us several times say, take a risk. If it fails, it's okay. We'll redo it. So she's always taking those risks, and she makes learning exciting for kids every single day. And I recommend her for tenure without risk.
We'll go on to give her tenure, so.
Thank you.
So if you want to make that resolution now, we'll take it out of my pleasure, really.
Sorry.
And that, again, is made by a child with special needs, Katie's Creations.
Awesome. Thank you.
Good recommendation.
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, Laura Dunham is granted tenure in the area as an elementary teacher effective December 21st, 2023. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second? Is there a second
Thank
there?
you.
Okay, all in favor, aye. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. PTA update?
Why don't we just jump right ahead, then we'll go
Okay.
back into personnel. You're there. Just go for
Just
it.
a few quick things. Report on the turkey trot. Just a big thank you to everybody, the community, the board, everyone who participated. The final amount is in, and we raised $27,961,
Fantastic.
which was 93% of our goal, but up 41% from last year. So that's huge. The penguin patch is coming up in December. That's where the kids get to go shopping for their families. And then our next general PTA meeting is Tuesday the 5th, which is going to be after school from 3:30 to 4:30. So people who tend not to be able to make the night meetings can have an opportunity to make an afternoon meeting instead. And that's it.
All right, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate the update.
I don't know, we're still figuring out our dates.
Yeah.
Go back to personnel.
Yes.
So letter B is a resignation. It's actually a retirement of Patricia Grande. I don't know if she's with us this evening virtually. She said she was going to try to be with us. I want to ask the board to accept Patricia's resignation for the purpose of retirement after serving the spring school for 25 years. Pat, as she's affectionately called, has worked as a one-to-one aide, a teacher assistant, to an elementary teacher. She put 2 children through school and went back to school herself. She's an extremely reflective teacher, always seeing the specialness of each student, encouraging them to take risks. She was active in Special Olympics and in park. It was a pleasure to work with her as the CSEA past president. That's my experience has been with her in that role as well. We wish Pat and her husband all the best in retirement and thank her immensely for her dedication to the students of Spring School, and she will be missed.
Yes, she will. She's been a very presence at the school for a long time.
Okay. C is some more substitutes.
Do you want
Just
to take a resolution?
do resolution on the
We'll do it with the others.
Okay,
Oh,
We're gonna do it.
they'll do a consent agenda
Okay.
first. Substitutes are there, non-certified subs, as well as early morning, lunch monitors, and a substitute clerical to assist us. Stipends for late winter sports. There's some good recommendations there. We'll have 2 girls basketball teams, 2 volleyball boys teams. We have a resignation of Rachel from the district clerk. I have a resignation from Jennifer Lester as the deputy district clerk. G is the appointment of Rachel Messiniak as the deputy district clerk to back up Vicki if she's out. She has agreed to do that. H is an MOA between the Springs Union Free School District and United Public Service Employees Union. These is your bus drivers. The language in their original contract was silent on the entry level for a bus driver. So we wanted that to be shored up. So that's what that contract is. Do you have the starting salary of the bus driver, Steve?
Should be 41.
Just so the board knows.
Should be 41,428.80.
Thank you.
How much was that?
41.
For starting bus driver?
Yeah, so I'll double check the math, but that's what.
Right. Seems, I think it's that high.
But they were at 30.
Just verify that before we sign off on it.
Okay,
Yep,
we'll verify it.
we'll do.
With the resignation of Pat Grande, I is the appointment of Melanie Guras, elementary teacher. She was a leave replacement. I would ask the board to be sure that the effective date is the 27th, so that she has a continuous service to the school district rather than a break in service for the district. So she ended her leave on Monday and ended her leave on Friday. The leave came back on Monday. She would start this position on Monday, and this way she had continuous service for the district. J is appointment of translation, people that help us translate during parent-teacher conferences. K is the appointment of piano accompanist, Karen. L is extracurricular stipend, revised again. There was a mistake on journalism coordinator, and we're happy to say that the robotics program is taking off, and you have 2 additional robotics coaches being paid out of our grants. And that's personnel.
We pull H until we have the correct amount in that.
There was it's saying wage increases reflected in the August 3rd MOA shall be applicable to the entry level position, which is, I'm just trying to find that. And
Look at the contract.
The contract didn't say the amount. That's why I wanted Steve to tell you what the entry level salary
I can
was.
definitely double check it for you.
Yeah, please do that.
Okay, I will.
Well, I'd like to present that.
Well,
Until
do
we
you
have
wanna, should we do that now then, so we can, is that possible?
what, find it right now?
Yeah, or we.
I'd rather send it and wait.
We're not gonna be able to.
And the person's been waiting since August when the contract was signed.
Right, but we
The
just,
contract
you know,
is silent.
yeah, we just went through this in the last contract negotiation when MOA was incorrect. I don't want to do it again and rush it.
The MOA is correct. It just doesn't state the salary.
Right, if we put the wrong salary in there, if Steve is correct, that's fine. If he's incorrect, that's not fine.
Well, the MOA, this is what we're
MOA
saying, doesn't actually give the
Since,
number. So even
can
if Steve
approve
is
the
wrong in what
MOA,
he says
yeah.
right now, that's not what's in here. It's
There's
saying
no
what's-
salary in the MOA.
The MOA is saying what's in the contract is the salary.
Is that all he's asking for?
Yes, it's
Yes.
not giving an actual number here.
It's a reference, it's just a reference to that.
I thought you would want to know what the salary was.
Would be nice, yeah.
It's just saying the salary that's reflected there
Okay,
is actually the starting salary.
okay,
So,
all right, my mistake.
so personnel. So do I have a motion to move personnel items B through L to consent agenda? Second, all in favor?
Aye.
We do have some special education.
Yes, you have cases, CSE cases 1 and 2, and then 504 cases 1 through 5 to be approved.
Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby accepts the recommendations from the Committee on Special Education and 504 Committee, CSE cases 1 and 2, and 504 cases 1 through 5. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, Steve has supplied us with some finance information.
Sure. In A and B, please see the revenue and appropriation status for July and August. In number 10, see the agreement with Strategic Educational Analytics for the 23-24 school year for their help for the budgeting purposes. And in B, please see the change order with Moore Consulting Group for the general construction of the roof replacement and the playground reconstruction, which is a decrease in the contract sum of $10,000 for credit to the school for unused allowance.
Okay. Is this contract finally wrapped up then? Is that?
Should be, that one which this is agreed will be wrapped up.
Okay, all right, great. So do I have a motion to move finance items A and B to consent agenda?
Make a motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor? Aye. We also need to approve some minutes. We have the October 24th regular meeting and the November 7th special meeting, executive meeting where we were in executive session and came out of that session to approve the MOA for the TAs increase in their salary, to bring the lowest salaries up to 30,000. Everybody ended up with a $6,200, $420 increase, because we, recognize how hard they work and we're really trying to do right by them financially. So I'm glad we were able to get that approved and get salaries bumped up. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approves the minutes for the October 2024 regular meeting, the November 7th special executive meeting. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
No policy right now. Principals report, we will get from Mr. Kelt at a later time.
We'll put that on the agenda for the December board meeting. He's out sick tonight. He apologizes.
We have the enrollment report from our superintendent.
So your enrollment report, we had an increase from our last Board of Ed meeting, but we are pretty much where we were the previous year at this time, 661 students K-8. Last year at this time, we were at 662 students. When you add pre-K to it, we're at 718, where last year at this time, we were at 713. From last month, we're up about 12 students. So enrollment has been kind of steady. We have 3 pending students at the high school. After those 3 pending students, we will be at 349 for general education tuition. We budgeted 350. The only spot we really have room is 1 special ed self-contained youngster and about 7 of the hybrid students, which is about 44,000 per kid, as our buffer right now. And last year, if you remember, we got hit hard in March.
Right.
Good thing that we did it. What was the increase just from last month that brought us to 349?
Well, we
Yeah,
have
that was
3
3 at the high
pending,
school.
and there was another 380. Wow, almost 12 students
Here
for the high school in 1 month.
In 1
12
month.
at the high school? I thought it was 12 here and 3 at the high school. That's what you said.
High school.
Oh, that's what I wanted to clarify.
Yes, can you put that on?
Because last month we had a pretty good buffer,
She's trying to.
and now we have 1.
Which one is she?
One general and then the hybrid.
Under the superintendent's report.
Traditionally, you mentioned March is another month. We know that happens in springs. Obviously, you're saying it happens at the high school too, customarily where we see a jump in our student population. Do we think that's going to happen in December and January and February? I forget what the number increases were.
No, in fact, what happens, and remember, we ask for the attendance every quarter, and we ask for their grades every quarter. So when you see 21 absences that are continuous, I can ask the high school to drop the student, which then means we're not paying the tuition during that time. Some students do leave for a period of time after Christmas and stay away almost till March because they can't get work here. So they leave and then they come back again.
So there's a potential to have a little bit of relief from that 349 and 350 in the next few months before we may expect to see that condense again on that number.
Pop up again. Look at the numbers in 12th and 11th grade though. We haven't seen numbers like that in a long time, at least not while I'm here. Our highest class, I think if you remember, was in the 90s. This is 105 and 104.
Well, last year at that time, there was 104 in the 11th grade, which is now 105 in 12th grade, right?
So you're saying at least it's not
So,
a
yeah.
foregone conclusion that
Right,
it's going
but
to
I mean,
indefinitely
it's
increase.
the kids from 11th grade moving up to 12th grade, you're certainly gonna have that. So the previous year's class of 12th grade was only 87 kids. But because of that 104 in 11th grade last year, they're now 105. And 94 in 10th grade has gone up to 103 in 11th grade. So it's,
Interesting gap
You know.
between 9th and 10th and 11th and 12th, right?
Those kids get older.
I mean, you always have to look at it on a diagonal in one sense, right? As you're
Yeah.
going from year to year, seeing how the kids.
The
are
other
moving.
thing that happens is that the child may be considered a 9th or 10th grader according to our records, and they get up to the high school and they may decide that the 10th graders are really not 10th graders, they're 9th graders. The 11th graders are not really 11th graders, they're 10th graders, depending on their transcripts that they get from their schools. They,
And how many,
they may change their grades.
How many to 21s from Springs? Because 21 is the, right?
Right now, we don't have anybody staying, but next year we will. The special ed children are allowed to stay now to their 22.
Right, what about regular education? Is that 20 and 21 now?
21,
We have those students?
yes, we do.
And they're in the 12th grade?
Yes.
How many were there?
That are 21, I don't recall how many are 21. But I remember.
Special ed's gonna be 22 now?
No, they have, here's what's funny about 20, the special ed child who turns 22 has to leave the day that they turn 22.
Right.
The 21-year-old is allowed to finish the school year.
Right, so we use most of our records, when we try to do this, we're basing the child being 18 years old and the senior graduate now. But a special ed is in 12th grade, actually can have 3 or 4 more years of education.
Correct,
So that number will increase if we have more special ed.
correct.
So will that be useful to us with our budget when we figure it out?
Gen Ed can stay till they're 21 or get a high school diploma.
Right, but gen ed is also general ed, it's general ed state, they'll be a hybrid situation.
Yes, they could be
But
hybrid.
They most likely will be, right? Or just because they came on that, we don't know. So where they're gonna be classified, right? Where would those 18 to 20-year-olds, 21, general ed or hybrid, how many do we have? Be nice to know that. And then how many are special ed students from 18 to 22? That's because that's on top of the ones we're already sending up.
Right, so you're saying
Right,
as if there's some way we can track that a little bit more detail so that we can account for that in a 5-year plan.
Because 4 special ed students is $250,000.
I know that they did a special graduation in the summer trying to get these students to graduate too.
I'm not trying to push them out, I just like to
No,
know
but
the numbers.
the high school did offer summer
Right.
school
If
to.
we're sending 90 kids to the high, if we're sending 98th grade kids to the high school, and I think the subject came up last year, we need to know how many, and we're assuming that all the 12th graders are, but they're not necessarily always. So we always have to be aware of that, factoring that into our
Right,
consult.
we need to be in contact with the high school just so we can limit the amount of assumptions we make when creating a budget, particularly a budget that is going to survive a 5-year plan. The good news is also, it's on a slightly separate topic. I think we clarified in the previous meeting that we can prorate these tuitions to the day, right? So
Yes.
it's not like you're in debt for a whole month if a student shows up for 5 days. It's sophisticated enough that all of these fees are calculated to the day, and as we monitor attendance, will be billed accordingly.
If a child is absent, you're still getting billed for that day.
Meaning tuition-wise, not just not absenteeism, just in terms of their enrollment.
Correct,
But if a child disenrolls or enrolls, those are always tracked to the day.
correct.
Who's calling track of that? Yeah.
Both the high school and our registration office,
How much for public?
both. We may get some information that they don't have. Then we notify them and vice versa, they may notify us. And you do still have a transient population between Montauk, East Hampton, back to Springs, Riverhead, Hampton Bays, back to Springs.
When students are moving in and out of the district like that, do we do additional residency checks?
Yes. Yep. And remember, you have to enroll and ask questions later, and we'll send our private detective out to the home as well. And we did the true view for all of our 12th graders, not all of our 12, all of our high school students. And we came up with about 4. And then Montauk used the same service. So we're seeing some of those results then come back to us because they live here. And I really do think when the errors occur at the high school, parents just don't know that there's a tuition attached to it and they need to register in the district where they're putting their heads to sleep at night. They just assume that the child's going to go to East Hampton regardless. So what does it matter? It does matter. These schools are paid for it.
Thanks, Deb. We're now going to talk about some old business, which is our superintendent search, but there's actually some
Can you put that up, Vicki, for us?
of our survey data, and we have an update on the actual search itself. Which shall we start with?
Whatever you prefer, Barbara.
Well, let's just jump right in with the good news that we have started having our preliminary interviews with candidates. We have 33 applicants. We interviewed 11 people virtually, and there are 5 candidates meeting with committees tomorrow here at the school. So we bumped up our timeline a little bit because we realized we might as well just get this done. The applications are in, no point waiting. So it's been a sped up process, but we're excited by the candidates that we have, and looking forward to how things go tomorrow. And we also have survey results. We sent out the survey to get people's thoughts on what we are looking for in the superintendent. They've been compiled here.
So the first one, what best describes you? So who actually completed the survey? You'll see that 43.3% of our parents did, with another group that said that they're staff and parents, so that's another 5% parent. We have other, which is 2.5. Community members, we did outreach. We wanted us to see how we could reach out to the community members. We sent out emails to people that we knew, asked them to pass it along. 14.2% of the community members answered. Additional staff members, anybody who's fell into another category. Parent community member, so they could click that button. And then you can see our teachers was 20%. So I think, you had a really good response.
Yeah, how big a response was that?
About 130. What do you want to see most in our next superintendent? This one was really the strongest area, strong vision and ethical leadership. Came out to about 85%, very important. Knowledge of grant writing and funding opportunities, 47.5%, very important. As a professional network for support, it's about 37.5% important, very important. Skilled in operations, resources, personnel management, very important, 58.3%. Lives in or near the district. I know that for the board, we felt that this was important for retention. Very important, 44.2%.
Actually, that seems to have a larger area of people who think it's less important than any of the other less important things. So that's interesting.
Finance, including budget supervision and monitoring expenditures of funds, very important. Another really high area, 62.5%. Excellent communicator who understands the needs of the students and staff in a multicultural learning environment. Another, I think this is the strong, I think this was the strongest area, 78.3%. Effective collaborator with the Board of Ed and manager of district policies was also high, 70.8%. And ability to provide professional development and track progress through student achievement was at 39.2%. And what do you think will be the 3 greatest challenges for the next superintendent? Working with the Springs budget, common theme there, staffing, improving the culture within the building, facilitating strong communications, or top areas. We did not list a lot of the comments. They ranged from, anywhere from, please try to find us a good person to, we have needs here that we need addressed, and we need it addressed now.
This is nice information, though, for the committees that are meeting tomorrow. We have the community committee and the staff committee. And
this was shared with them.
Be nice, Gert, that this information will be shared so they can see a larger lens as they ask their individual questions and get more information and learn more about these folks.
That was shared prior to this
Great.
meeting, letting them know.
I think previous surveys like this, staffing has not been as high. Clearly, everybody's very aware of the problems we've been having. So,
well, remember when you hired me in 2017, your needs were very different. It was to pass a bond, it was to get a building built,
yeah,
and your community, and building the relationships with the community. So your needs have changed.
Yes, yeah, which is to be expected, right? Over the years, so. So I think we're in a good position with our search, and look forward to having more to report to people, in the near future.
Nice question.
I'm going to tell you that it's time for public commentary number 2 right now. And if anybody here who's in the audience or calling in has a question about or concern, you can come to the podium and let us know your name and state what you'd like to say, and we will do our best to respond to you. Go right ahead.
My name is Bob Botini. Question on the graphs that you showed. How many people responded?
130.
And this was to the Springs community?
Yes.
Okay, so the question I have specific to the charts was, it seemed overwhelmingly that the highest priority was communication and collaboration for the superintendent. And,
Yeah, I'm going to put it back up. Oh.
but then you went to the next slide, which showed the 3 greatest challenges. That's collaboration and communication seem to be number 4.
Right.
I'm looking for a little bit of insight into why there seems to be a gap there.
Yeah.
High need, but didn't show up as one of the top 3 challenges.
Right. Yes. Interesting. Yeah. Actually, I think it looks like the strong vision, ethical leadership actually had 85%. So in terms of the circles, that looks like the highest percentage there. And
So yeah, I'm looking at this chart, and this seems to have the overwhelmingly greatest red, and it's communication.
Right. We'll go to the first one because there's a slide previous to this that has even more red.
Yeah.
Not the one after that.
There you go.
There you go.
Which is
So this actually kicks off all the graphs that we're speaking about.
Yeah.
But to your point, it is still interesting. Of course, sometimes I wonder, what you look at from an individual standpoint, and then the needs, and the respondents may not be thinking of that in the moment, but they're thinking of, this is what I feel is really important. And then you get to this question, what do you think the biggest challenges are? And there's alignment, but it is a little,
Well, this is having this 2 formats sort of now to tease out a little more information, right? You have the one way of getting certain stuff, but actually there's other stuff that's important too. So at least there was a venue for that being able to come out. And I think, I think people are aware of what the problems are, and staffing has been spoken of so much over the past year that it's at the top forefront of people's minds as a problem. But, and it's going to take a lot of things in order to be able to address that issue. And is it just someone having acumen for finance or personnel management, or what among those other donut things is going to help, solve that?
So in your search, I assume you're baking these top priorities and needs into, your assessment of each candidate.
Yes.
Yeah, they're basically shaking out in the interview questions. The process, we cast a wide net. Then there are some that won't make it just based on qualification. And then you get these folks in these kind of speed interviews where you want to make sure that they're checking the boxes, at least on what we already know these high needs are, along with their proficiencies. And then tomorrow's interviews will be able to go into much greater detail from a much wider group of stakeholders that will help the board just give more input and feedback into what they view these next candidates at this next level of interviewing. If they succeed in answering these the best that they can.
Okay, great. And how many candidates do you have right now?
We have 5.
You have 5. Okay.
For-
You expecting that to increase or?
No,
are you
that
working-
we're
We're funneling down
We're
to our,
funneling down,
yeah,
yes.
we're trying to get to that last.
Okay, so you're far along.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, we've been trying to,
Yeah.
without sacrificing quality, we've been doing our best to accelerate the process as best we can.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Great question.
Barbara, we do have a caller.
Okay, well, please put them through.
Hi, it's Brittany Ballington.
Oh, hi, Brittany.
Hello.
How are you? I have a couple of questions. Sorry I couldn't be there in person tonight. First question for you is, first, thank you for sharing the update on the TA contract negotiations. While you did share that there was an increase, I'm still curious to know if the revised contract makes the TA salaries competitive with other districts on the East End, or if this is a temporary solution before a more formal and more broad contract negotiation happens maybe next year.
It is bringing it up to 30, which is fairly competitive with what's out here. But again, this is an MOA, and there are other items in the contract that we do need to finish negotiating.
Okay, thank you for your transparency on that. I'm sure we may have some other questions from others on the phone. Second question that I had for you was on item 10B, the change order. It looks like we're saving $10,000 on the roof replacement and playground reconstruction. Can you share how that money is getting reallocated and what the process is for determining where this money is reallocated to?
Sure. The change order is basically, it is a $10,000 that the consulting company holds for, I guess you could say, a retainer, and we didn't use it. So this is going to close out the project, the roof project and the reconstruction of the playground. And we will see once this is done and once the other issue that we're still doing with the gym floor is done. And then we have to decide how much money is left over after these two things are actually fully complete.
Got it. And I'm curious why the pre-K playground is not within the scope of this project.
It wasn't.
This wasn't in the initial capital project, so that's a separate item. So
Got
these
it.
are strictly.
Okay, so it would be a different process to get there.
The UPK playground, we're waiting for the state to approve our grant. It was put in the grant for actual equipment, but they would not pay for installing it. But we have not gotten that final approval yet.
Okay, thank you for those responses. Appreciate the time.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anybody else here or calling in at this time who has a question on the agenda? Okay. In that case, that is the end of our public commentary period. And board members, we have our next meeting is on December 12th, I believe. Is that correct?
13th. It's Tuesday the 13th.
Tuesday the 13th.
Yeah, unless we decide to do an earlier meeting.
Yes. In terms of which we need to figure that out in terms of going over. Do we want to go ahead and schedule something now, or should we?
He had tentatively said the
Tuesday the 5th?
It's actually the 12th. This is a typo.
The 12th,
It's the 12th.
Okay, yes, right.
And so we're talking about the 5th now.
So if we get together on the 5th to talk about the results from, yes, or do we want to get together sooner than that to talk about results from tomorrow?
Sooner would be great, but.
Sooner? No, we can do sooner, certainly.
Is that work for you, Pat?
Tell you about Tuesday. They don't get it.
sooner than the 5th.
And if you go until next Monday or Tuesday, it'll be better for me. I've been away for 3 days.
Yep, okay.
School.
All right.
So what we're going
Yeah, I had the 5th tentatively scheduled.
I wonder that tentatively scheduled for a meeting with finalists. That's
Oh.
what I think we had tentatively
Okay.
scheduled, because if they're meeting with people tomorrow,
I think we should, maybe,
maybe we should do like a Saturday morning get together. When's in the time that we could get together to, go over the results from what the community.
We could do like an exec session even over video, I guess. Like
Yeah, we could do
if we could do an exec session on the 5th, we could take care of some personnel issues at the same time.
Yes, we can certainly do that, but,
I think we have to schedule them. We have to, I mean, are we talking about, we're gonna be interviewing tomorrow and then we wanna make a selection to have them in for the final round of interviewing, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
so you want the 5th to be bringing them back, so then you'll need a meeting in between.
No, I didn't think we would do that. I would recommend, my recommendation is, tomorrow's the committee meeting, we get all the information together. We get it back to, we can judge, look at ourselves individually, meet on the Tuesday the 5th as a board to go over the thing without the candidates. They haven't discussed how we feel about the candidates before we call the candidates.
no, I think we need to talk about the candidates, but I think, do we want to wait a whole week between the interviews and hearing and hearing a follow-up, or do we
Right,
want to
well,
do
what
that
was in
sooner?
some of this may have been in this plan, right? Do we have that listed?
Well, we've gone off the plan because
We've
everything up.
accelerated the plan.
No, but you didn't, I guess you didn't send a revised copy.
Oh, I
of the accelerated
sent
plan.
it just to the board as a suggestion.
Right.
Does it make sense, since some board members will be here for the interviews tomorrow, to just meet after the interviews? If the rest of us meet here?
Well, committees are gonna get together, we could do that,
That will already be here, right? So then it wouldn't
right?
cost them an extra trip.
But
Right.
will the committees know at that point who they think, who is gonna be their top
Yeah.
people?
Rich-
We can deliberate,
Rich
yeah.
Right, yeah.
and Deb will bring them all back together again at like 3:15.
Okay,
So maybe they'll be done by 3:45.
all right,
I am unavailable. We have a meeting at Villa Lombardi's regarding budget
okay.
with some people from the state.
I think you posted, we reconvene at 3:15 and basically have up till 4 PM to discuss.
So those of us who weren't there, if we come over here at 4 or 4:30, would that work? What's your,
That works for me.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
or
work?
sooner.
Yeah, does that,
Or,
Well, I would say
You got
3:45, 4
5
o'clock.
Or 4 o'clock, okay.
Yeah.
3:45, 4 o'clock, and we'll all, okay, that's, there we
yeah,
go.
because Pat and I are gonna be here from 8.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
sooner
we don't want to do this, yeah,
so
so,
we would work, if we got done and say, I could leave for an hour and come back.
Oh,
That's
well, we're not, no,
Yeah.
well, we're not. We're
not.
Your
we're not
last,
getting
your
done till
last
4.
candidate is,
At 4 o'clock.
Yeah,
no, your last candidate gets done at 3:15. So you need to bring both
We got
committees,
45 minutes of committees together, we'll be done till
Right.
4.
right.
right?
And we're not leaving before then.
right, so we'll be here at 4. We'll check with Emma, see if that works for her. And, so I guess, can we go ahead and post that for
Yeah,
meeting? We'll be
post a executive session only for 4 o'clock tomorrow.
I'll go make coffee right away.
I was gonna come up with that. There is a gap in the schedule that you made. I think the one committee, because we're an odd number, I'm wondering if there's any way to fill that time after lunch where the committees can be, they're just like a check notes section of that. Because one committee is gonna have, I think, at least an hour and a half of basically nothing to do. So I was thinking that while one committee is interviewing the 5th candidate, the other committee can begin their discussions about what they've reviewed so far.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that it's not perceived as dead time or something.
Yeah,
like that.
once one group finishes interviewing number 5, they should just go right into deliberations about all of them.
Well, that's what that group will do.
Yes.
The group that has the earlier gap is mostly staff, so they can go back to their classrooms or their desk or,
Oh, okay, so they don't have to sit.
right. It's the community members that will have to, after they'll have time to deliberate after the last candidate.
Right.
But then they're gonna be waiting to meet with the other group unless they decide to let, Mrs. Hobb be their spokesperson. I don't know.
Well, do they need to deliberate with the other group? Is each group gonna come up with their own top candidates? Or are they gonna do it then all together?
The last time they did it together.
I think
Correct.
the difference is
Right.
because of the odd number,
Because of the
there's
odd
just
number,
more
right, yeah,
time,
Right.
to
So, I
do
mean,
that.
I'm sure if there's community members that would like to leave, as long as there's some, we'll figure that out.
Yeah, that's why I did it that way. Like, I had to decide which group was gonna have
Yeah.
the time at the end or which group was gonna have the time in the middle, and I chose
Right.
the staff to have the time right after lunch.
Okay.
And then I guess everything is left in that room in terms of people are coming and
The
going.
two facilitators, Deb Hobb and Rich Burns, will take everything.
Okay. All right, great. So,
And lunch is being provided and all the packets are made. There's
coffee
a
and
rubric.
snacks for deliberating time later, maybe?
Hmm?
Maybe some coffee and other things for later on while, after the interviews, while people are deliberating, have something then. For people to, yeah.
I wish the general store was here.
Yeah,
Maidstone Market, has beautiful pastries.
What?
Maidstone Market,
okay.
They have what?
beautiful pastries.
Okay.
All right, so we all set for tomorrow then? We'll get in touch with Emma, let her know the plan, and then we'll
Thank you.
go right away.
I hope that's helpful.
It does. I haven't
Okay.
been out of work since last,
Okay.
my guys haven't seen it. It's phone calls.
I won't see you tomorrow either, but.
I know that.
So, all right,
I guess this then
My
just
clients.
keeps us moving on
Yeah.
our search rather than.
and then we'll figure out any additional meetings from there.
Okay.
But we'll definitely have a regular board meeting on December 12th. So on that note, do I have a motion
Do
to
we
adjourn?
also want to do a board meeting on December 5th if it's possible?
To talk about the executive session stuff that we're not gonna get to tomorrow.
The personnel stuff?
Right, we can certainly do that.
Do we give an invitation?
Maybe like starting early,
Oh, yeah.
5:30 or 6.
Yeah.
Just
Let's
going
bring
over
it for
that.
them.
Yeah, so we'll figure that out and then post that. Okay. So, all right. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Yes.
Great.